Welcome to your back to school tips if you're a parent and you're looking to help your child best transition into this new school year. There are two type of kiddos that we're looking to help with this series of tips. One is if your kiddo has a worried brain, if they're feeling anxious, nervous, stressed, and worried about the transition to the new school year. We're going to share tips on how to ground and calm their brain, help that transition go as smoothly as possible. And two, if your kiddo has a distracted brain and they have trouble focusing and paying attention, I want to share strategies with you as well. So the first tip is in the category of movement. We know that movement is critical to charge our brain, not only to get rid of stress. I know for myself, if I exercise after a stressful day, it certainly helps, but two, to help organize the brain. So in order to best take advantage of movement, there's two categories. There's the big movements. This is gross motor. This is your child playing on the playground, playing sports, running around, roughhousing, rolling, tumbling. And fine motor. Fine motor is artwork. It's playing a musical instrument. It's even talking, as the mouth and the tongue have fine motor movements. So how can you use these to help your kiddo's brain? Well, gross motor is really good to activate the brain for learning. So if your kiddo goes through the school day and then they come home and they need to study or do homework, make sure they're getting outside, they're playing, they're running around, and that's going to activate their brain for their studying and their homework. If they sit in front of the TV and do video games after school, it's not necessarily going to get their brain in a good state. Fine motor, on the other hand, is really good for emotional processing. That's why there's things like art therapy, where a kiddo is drawing and being creative and accessing that emotional part of their brain while they can discuss or talk about their worries and their anxieties. Now, one of the things that I like to do is if your kiddo is in a stressed out, worried, anxious, nervous state, you might first get them to burn some of that stress chemistry off by running and playing. And then maybe you have them do some art, they do some journaling, they play their musical instrument, and then you can sit down and talk and process things. One other ways to activate the brain here for learning are these cross-crawl movements. This is going to fall more in this gross motor category, but it's something that I like to do before a study session, during the study session as a little break, or at the end. And basically, cross-crawl simply means crossing your arm and your leg. So marching in place, touching your elbow to your knee is a really good example here. You can do that for 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, and it charges your kiddo's brain up. So a nice, easy way before a study session to get things activated. Lazy 8s help activate the brain for learning as well, but now more for connecting the eyes to the hands for motor control there, and getting the eyes ready for reading and scanning the page. So a picture of number 8, if we move it on its side like an infinity signal, how you do this is you start with one hand and you trace that infinity signal, that 8 on its side. And the key with this is as you're having your kiddo trace, have them keep their head still. So you don't want them moving like this. You want their head perfectly still. Do 3 rounds with one side, 3 rounds with the other side, and then do both together and 3 rounds there. You're having them trace that 8 on its side while watching their fingertips. And then the last one is really good if your kiddo's feeling stressed about the school day. This is one you can do in the morning before going to school, and that's victory pose. Ultimately, our body reflects often how our brain is feeling. If I am slumped over, you can tell I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling run down, I'm feeling a little nervous. On the other side of things, if I open up, you can tell I might be feeling excited. I might be feeling more bold or more brave. So victory pose is standing with your legs wide and your arms up and holding that upright pose for 30 seconds, a minute. And it actually starts to tell the brain we're okay. It starts to build confidence and get the brain shifted out of that stressed and worried state into a more open and receptive state, ready to go for the school day. So this series is on movements, and we'll be back in the next video with more back to school tips for you and your kiddo.